Hi everybody. So this is a little extras video. This has nothing to do with the plane build. You see in front of you one of my wife and I's coffee tables. It's a 40-inch squared teak coffee table, and I'm doing a little refinishing. If you look, you can see that there's a sanding block in a very small area of the table that had been sanded. I thought that I could come out. Look, I hadn't worked with teak in a long time. I've done a lot of woodworking. I love woodworking. It's been a while since I've done any, and I'd forgotten that teak is only slightly less hard than the concrete floor that I'm sitting on. This stuff is tough. So I started off with a sanding block, and after 10 minutes I said, there's no way that I'm going to be able to actually do this and keep my arms. So got myself a little rotary sander and continuing the job. And look, it still took 4 hours, right? So just to sand it off. So refinishing teak is a multi-step process. One, sand off the old varnish, and depending on how many nicks and scrapes you gotta, sand a little deeper if you've got stains. This table is a second-hand table. My wife and I bought it from this nice lady in Vancouver, Canada, when we used to live there, and it was used as a gardening table, right? And look, this is Vancouver, Canada. Vancouver means damp in the native language, so this thing was just hideously stained. Mold, I can only assume it was mold, just black stains from having plants on it, people leaving cups, Teak, as hard as teak is, it's only got really a couple of really great applications. One, you use it a lot in the marine world, so a lot of boats have teak railing. Wherever you see wood, it's generally teak. I don't know why they use teak. I mean, it's a great hardwood. I don't know why they use it, because you don't use teak oil on teak when it's on a boat, unless it's inside. Right? It's a crime. You saw the beautiful finish that was on this table, and now you see how the wood looks when it's sanded bare. Right? It's a beautiful, darkly stained wood. It should be for furniture, which is the second use. But that stuff is just like sanding. It's a nightmare. Now this is an original Danish teak table from the probably early 60s. There's no date on it. All it says is made in Denmark. It has definitely been refinished before. Unfortunately, this is going to be the last time it can be refinished. One of the corners, we've just gotten to the point where the trim for the entire side piece of the table is actually a spare piece of teak. Like this whole thing isn't solid teak, by the way. Oh no, it would weigh 100 pounds. Right? It already weighs. Look, that thing already weighs 50 pounds. So it's basically two thick pieces of teak with a veneer strip around the entire edge. And unfortunately, it's been refinished enough that it's just getting to the point where you can start to see the underlying hardwood core. So unfortunately, this will be the last. Like I said, refinishing teak, multi-step process. One, sand it down. I used 120, then followed up with 220. You can go finer if you want, but at that point it's just smooth enough. After that, I clean it off with first rubbing alcohol. That gets all the dust and any excess oil or anything else off, and then I follow that up immediately with cleaning it off with water, because you don't want the alcohol to dry it out. This is the next day where I came in, and first I apply a cleaner. So you apply a teak cleaner to it. That helps kind of seal and protect the wood. It also kind of gives it a little bit of a teak finish. You can technically, the cleaner that I bought, you can technically use it as a finish. However, it doesn't really give it the deep richness that a good teak oil gives it. So what I'm doing here is I'm wiping off the rest of the cleaner. I'm trying to figure out how to open the bottle, and now I'm about to apply a generous amount of teak oil to the top. And you can see the natural, the beauty of that wood now, just absolutely gorgeous. Look, you try to put teak oil on pine, doesn't work. You try to put teak oil on oak, doesn't work. You put it on teak, it's a miracle. So you put the first layer on, and you let it sit. I let it sit for about half an hour, and then you go ahead and you wipe the excess off, right? Because you just want it to soak in. Unfortunately, I didn't get me wiping the first layer off. And so this is the next day where I'm putting the second coat of teak oil on. And you can see I'm putting it on thick. All right, teak doesn't normally have a gloss shine. Teak is most natural when it's got a nice satiny finish. And so now that this is wiped off, this is going to sit for a couple of days, and it's going to come back home. So thank you for this little excursion into furniture restoration. See you soon.